welcome, Reggie. Thank you so much for coming here and really contributing to us and to the space. We're so grateful for you. Just for those of you who do not know, Reggie is the founder of Active Peace Yoga. He was I'd say, a former organizer.
Current organizer, former political strategist.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was like, still.
Yeah. And just the most insightful, incredible human beings that we've come to know through this work. And we're so grateful to have you here. And for those of you who would like to learn more, make sure you check out activepeaceyoga.com. And it's incredible. And yeah, so and if anybody would like to contribute, make a donation, we always appreciate that and encourage you to do so.
Where do they do that?
Can they do that?
It's on the web page, right? So the front on the web page, when it says about, like, what's this about, right? So there's information there.
Perfect.
Yes, absolutely.
ActivePeaceYoga.com.
ActivePeaceYoga.com. Yeah, and we'll make sure that's in the comments. So without further ado, Reggie, I'm gonna let you just take away, just give a little more introduction and
get out the way.
Yeah, we're gonna get out your way.
Nice. Well, I'm happy to be here again. I'm happy to be of service in this moment. And like we talked about Age on the phone today, I'm happy to give y'all a break. Y'all been doing this work every day for quite some time. And so be a student, right? Be a participant. You ain't like Black hippies here to hold, like, you cool, right? Like, so just be held, be nourished, be still, right? There's no need for y'all to do anything other than just receive, right? And Reggie Hubbard, he, him, his in the DC metro area, but I'm a citizen of the world, right? And a citizen that is Black male at a time where people are acutely aware of how challenging it is to have this shell and move through the world. And as Asia and I were talking about earlier, everyone's feeling some sort of way today, right? So why don't we feel some sort of way together? Right? Like, why don't we come to the virtual town square and feel some sort of way together? And I also shared with her that I didn't really, for obvious reasons, this lands differently with me than with most people. But as a teacher and as someone who is processing complex moments in real time, I wanted to hold a space using some of the tools that I've acquired over the years to help us navigate a really interesting time, right? Because who can believe that everything that happened with Brother Floyd, the coronavirus and all this stuff was 1 year ago? That's it. 1 year. Only 1 year. And I happen to know also that your group, WPDS, was founded a year ago. So happy early birthday. And gratitude to you for stepping into the opportunity for service, right? Everyone and their mom and their grandmama now trying to go back to normal when, as we talked about earlier, normal was cops killing Black people for sport, right? Normal was us pretending that everything was okay when it was woefully inadequate. So deep bow to each of you for continuing to be unnormal when everyone wants to go back to normal. We can create new norms, and that's what you all have been doing. So I'm just grateful to each of you, not only as leadership, but as like a community, for stepping into this hard work, right? So deep bow to you, deep gratitude. And, the work that you're doing of empowering a community has never been more important than now, right? Everyone, I'm a huge basketball fan, no shame on that, no shade on that. But I don't really care how many people are at the Sixers game. I don't care, they're almost at capacity. You know what I care about? I care about the 589,000 people that died of the coronavirus and their families, right? I care about the people who are still assaulted by cops. who look like me, right? I care about everyone who, I care about people who are reckoning in this moment with some really complex emotions. That's what I care about. I don't care about Disney World or Disneyland. Like, no shade if that's your hustle, but that's not my hustle. I wasn't put on earth to care about trifling matters. I was put on earth to care about things of importance. So it's in that spirit that I come before you because, one thing I'll begin with is saying, y'all's group title is White People Doing Something. What I want us to consider tonight is, instead of doing something, just be present, be open, and be in community with one another. Like I said, we're all feeling some sort of way today, so let's feel some sort of way together. So I'll offer a few reflections on the George Floyd anniversary of his murder. Some people say passing, but that's just being polite. Murder is one word, lynching is another. But some of the key takeaways I've had I'll offer some personal reflections, some societal reflections, and some other reflections, especially on how I think we should proceed. We'll do a meditation practice rooted in recognizing the various emotions we feel now, because I'm sure there's some anger, there's some joy, there's some exhaustion, there's some shame. There are all these sorts of things that are weaved together. And if we don't offer space for emotions to filter into their individual distinct categories, that leads to overwhelm. And I know a lot about the work that you're doing in terms of like exponential increase. Like, when you're overwhelmed, you can't be an exponentialist, right? That requires clarity. It requires community. So we're going to sift through some of the emotions tonight and soften some of the rough edges so that we can begin to view them through the lens of compassion as opposed to critique, right? True accountability holds space for compassion, not just judgment, right? So, and we'll definitely hold space for question and comments, because like I said, if we feel in some sort of way, let's feel some sort of way together, right? So let's begin. First of all, I'm very impressed with that. Like, from the moment that I talked to y'all on the phone, I was just like, we got to work together. We got to do some things together. And I'm very impressed with all that you've done, like the structure and the culture and everything that you've done. But again, like I said just now, I'm really concerned with your being. So, we're human beings, not just human doings. Sometimes we get so focused on doing that we forget about how we're being. So I'll model about how I want us to explore tonight. How am I feeling in this moment personally? Well, I'm somewhat out of sorts because I can't believe it's been a year. And, I'm proud of the progress that we've made. I'm sad about the progress that we still have to go. Some of my key learnings for the past year are as follows. Like, I've declared independence from expecting white society to care about me as much as I need to take care of myself. I've decided to have fierce grace with that self-love, and to have an internal compass and internal fortitude to withstand the withering nature of being Black in this society, right? So it came to mind. So George Floyd was murdered, then Jacob Blake was shot, then Casey Goodson. All these other things happened last year. And when Casey Goodson was shot in Ohio for having a sandwich outside of his house, I was like, okay, if I continue to hope and pray that people will care about Black men the way that I need to care about myself, that's crazy. So I decided to just be so bold and self-actualized and loving myself that it didn't matter what other people had to say. Kind of a lonely way to be, but it's also quite powerful. And that's what I consider all of us to do, is love ourselves so profoundly that external circumstance is less relevant. And the other thing I committed to this year is to use meditation and yoga to allow me to stand in the fire of our society and be nurtured by it rather than being consumed by it. I'm determined to embody wisdom, justice, clarity, and truth, and to be the liberated Black man that America has long sought to destroy and demonize and marginalize. And from my reckoning, when Black and brown people are whole and healthy and free, we all are whole and healthy and free. So I decided, beginning with the murder of George Floyd on throughout the rest of the year, to just be the dopest, right? And just be fierce and free. Like, I was only teaching for a month when George Floyd was killed. Now I'm like a featured teacher. I taught a union on Saturday. I taught IATSE. So this black man was teaching union people like yoga and meditation. Why? Because the healing that I found in my life, when I share it with other people, that makes my world better. It makes all of our worlds better. So, for those people content to perpetuate lies and ignorance, they're about to get sorely disappointed and rudely awakened, because that's just not how I get down. I know that's how y'all don't get down that way either. And the last thing I'll say in terms of some of the reflections I have is that there are many people who want to rush back to normal and avoid any measure of remembrance for George Floyd or racial injustice or any of the uncomfortable feelings that this brings about. Good for them. God bless you. That's what prayer beads are for. But for the rest of us, my hope and prayer is that we proceed with awareness, solemnity, and defiant joy at his passing, so that his passing and others who passed, not just in the past year, but over the course of America's history, will not have been in vain. It's up to us, those people of conscience, to bend the arc of moral justice towards us, as opposed to having it spiral towards the status quo. So a little bit more about why I was sad about George Floyd and am sad today. Of the many personal experiences I've had with racism in my life, the George Floyd one hit me the hardest. And here's why. We were the same age. We were the same vibe. And that just super hit me like viscerally. Like the other ones hit me in the head. Like Brother Floyd got me in the heart, and it still does to some extent. And last year, I also worked in an environment. I was working for a progressive nonprofit, and people were too busy to ask how I felt. So George Floyd gets murdered on the 26th or 25th, and I put together a video, produced another video, penned an op-ed, all by the 2nd of January, all while mourning. And no one asked me how I was doing, right? The video was seen by tens of thousands of people. And in a staff meeting, I just kind of lost it. And people are like, Reggie, do you have something to say? I was just like, ooh, you probably not going to like what I have to say. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, y'all only care about black men when we die. And then you only care in as much until you think about something else. And I'm sick of that. Can we get our flowers when we're alive? And I said this in a staff meeting, and it was crickets. And I was just like, look, I'm sorry that if you feel uncomfortable, but imagine how those people of color on our staff feel, and you haven't even asked us how we're doing, right? So that's why I was sad last year, and I've since resigned from that position. And what I've done is I've started resting. And you look behind me, I've got all these singing bowls. So I bought about 60 singing bowls and some custom jewelry for my resignation. And the reason I worked so hard as an activist wasn't to continue working hard. It was to continue to work so hard that I had the opportunity to do whatever I want to do. Like black and brown people don't work hard to work hard. We work hard to not work so hard. Right, to not have to prove ourselves and not have to protect ourselves from the police or from societal oppression or microaggressions or those sorts of things. So that's some of the things that I've been unpacking personally. And another thing I want to say to those people who may say, yeah, I'm happy that Chauvin got convicted, but we have so much work to do. I agree with you. We do have so much work to do. But don't focus so much on what has to be done and diminish what has been done. We have to celebrate accomplishments along the way. Otherwise, what's the point? If there's no joy in the work, no one will continue to do the work. So we have to find opportunities to celebrate, even if we're sad, even if we're angry, even if we're frustrated, because that joy, defiant joy is what I call it. And that's what's from my family tradition. Defiant joy makes work, the hard work that needs to be done, that much more approachable. And again, in conclusion, as an activist, I didn't work so hard to work my ass off for the rest of my life. I worked so hard so I could have the freedom to do what I wanted, and so other people can have the freedom to live the life they want. That's what all people want. They want to be free and healthy and not assaulted, right? I mean, I think that's fair. And I think it's something that we should consider, not just individually, but collectively. How can we do that for one another? So, transitioning a bit to this meditation practice, I want us to consider. It's called RAIN. And what RAIN stands for is R is recognize what's going on. A is allow the experience to be there just as it is. I is investigate with interest and care. And N is nurture with self-compassion. So again, when we have complex emotional responses, we experience them with the entire body. It's not just a cerebral experience, right? So when you get nervous, you clench, right? It's not just in your mind. So what RAIN does is it gives us the opportunity to find a peaceful place, examine our emotions throughout the whole body, and then soften and then allow the emotion to just breathe. And then we can find space from it and then find a little bit more discernment. Because the conscious mind is not always aware of how the body responds. Right. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. I had a very contentious conversation that I was the moderator of this past weekend. And because of this practice, I noticed myself getting super pissed, right? I was just like, oh, there's anger. Anger was like shooting up my spine and coming out my mouth. You know, I was about ready to just go off. But I was like, oh, okay, you're about ready to go off. Why don't you take a time out and pause? And so we paused as a group. I was like, listen, we all need to hit mute and meditate, because like if we continue to talk, like all of us are going to speak out of anger, and that's nothing nice, right? So, you know, I wanted to put that out there too, because yeah, yogis get angry sometimes too and want to curse people out. We're human. And it's because we're human that we teach these tools, because I can tell you, like, the anger was right here, and the words I was about ready to say were right here on the tip of my tongue. And I was like, if we don't pause now, it's going to be drama. So that's what RAIN gives us the opportunity to do. So what I want us to do, and this will only take about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll open up for reflection. This isn't going to take the whole hour, but I just want us to, number one, let's take a couple breaths, because it's been a heavy day, heavy year, heavy life to some extent. So if you're like this, give me your best posture. Maybe the shoulders come back a bit and you do some shrugs. Maybe you close the eyes and just loosen up the neck and soften the gaze. Come to stillness in the next 5 seconds or so. 3 clearing breaths before we do anything else. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. And feel free to make as much noise as you want to. The only person that you can hear is me. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. 2 more. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Last one. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Now, I want you to consider the past year. What has happened in your life outside the group? What has happened in the group? What have you accomplished? What has frustrated you? What has inspired you? And just notice what you notice, right? Notice the complex feelings that may be showing up, and notice your somatic response. How is the body responding to the questions that I'm asking? And now taking each one individually, what is something that has inspired you this year? Think about that. How does that make the body feel? Where do you feel that inspiration? For me, when I feel inspired, I typically feel it in my chest and in my forehead. It's like my brain lights up. And notice when you are inspired, where you feel that in the body. Become acquainted with the emotion of inspiration and the somatic experience of inspiration, rather than thinking inspiration is just, oh, it just happens. Yes, it just happens, but it also is a somatic experience. So feel that. Also, when I'm inspired, my heart tends to flutter. So when you consider this inspirational thing that's happened this year, it could be several things. What do you notice in inspiration? And just recognize what's happening in the body. A few deep breaths into this inspiration. Deep inhale in the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Inhale in the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Last, in through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Pausing before we switch. Just notice how the body responded, how the mind responded to reflecting on being inspired. And remember this feeling when the work gets boring or tedious or someone pisses you off, right? Because that never happens. But like, remember this feeling of inspiration, where it lives in the body, so that you can recall it when necessary, right? So let's transition to something over the past year that has frustrated you. I know there are probably a lot of things, but try and focus on one or two. And don't focus on them to the exclusion of what we just talked about with inspiration. Hold space for both. Because life is not all or nothing. Life is both and. Right? And as we consider what frustrates us or has frustrated us, let's explore the RAIN practice here. So recognize what's going on. Where do you feel this frustration? What are you most aware of? Where do you sense it? Is it in the body? Does a phrase come up like, these people always like when frustration happens, how does it manifest in your body and in your mind? So recognize what's going on. A few more opportunities to reflect here. And shifting from R to A, now that you've recognized what's going on, just allow the experience to be there. So you don't have to fix it. You don't have to critique it. Just notice it. The thing with allowing is you don't need to fix or avoid it. It just is. It's information. It's not the end of the world. It's not the beginning of the end of the world. It's information. So if you find fear or frustration, you can say it's okay, or I see you, or okay, word, all right, I'm frustrated, word, all right. and just create an opportunity to pause and bear witness to it instead of just reacting upon it. Allowing the experience to be there just as it is. Now that we've created that space, allowing the experience to be, so we've recognized we've allowed it to be, investigate it. Be curious, right? You may ask yourself, how am I experiencing this in my body? Why do I believe this? Why am I frustrated? What does this need? Does it need more attention? Do I need to let this go? Do I need to be more compassionate? But just investigate. And investigate this sense of feeling, like I said, from curiosity, not critique. The world's critical enough. Be easy on yourself. It's all right. And in this vulnerable place, ask what this wants from you. So what is this feeling of frustration or fear or anger? What does it want? Does it want to be expressed? Do you need to take deeper breath? Right? So just use natural curiosity. Get in touch with your inner private detective, right? Be like, explore it. Don't analyze it. Remembering that when we allow the experience to be, we're like, okay, it's cool. I'm fresh. I'm kind of pissed right now. All right, cool. I'm kind of afraid right now. It's natural, right? In transitioning toward nurturing with compassion. So we've recognized what's going on. We've allowed the experience that we're processing to be. We've investigated with curiosity. Now we just nurture the experience with self-compassion. Do you need to let something go? Do you just need to say, it's okay? I need a moment. Do you need forgiveness? Or do you need to forgive somebody? Do you need reassurance? Try and get a sense of the genesis of this feeling, whether it be fear or hurt or woundedness. What does it need? And just trust in your goodness and trust in the space that you've created to bear witness with what you're feeling with curiosity and not critique, right? You can also place a hand on your chest, be like, it's okay, it's all right. A hand on the side of the face. You know, sometimes like when I get a little too hot, I place a hand on the top of my head and be like, calm down, man, you cool, right? So give yourself unrelenting compassion, knowing that whatever you feel is what you feel. It's not the end of the world, doesn't make you a bad person. It's just a feeling. It's information. And if you can't offer yourself compassion, imagine a family member, a friend, a pet, or just anything that you admire and love offering that compassion to you if you're unable to offer it to yourself. A couple more moments here. In conclusion, place one hand over the heart, the other hand over that hand. 3 clearing breaths, and then we'll open it up for general reflection and whatever questions you may have. But before we do that, notice how it feels to have taken time to hold space for inspiration and hold space for something that was either frustrating or fearful. Notice how viewing it from curiosity as opposed to critique perhaps softened the edges and made the problem a little bit more approachable and less insurmountable. And notice that even though we're all only connected virtually, quote unquote, only, doing this in community is powerful. When we all tend to our gardens in community, we grow and nourish one another. So 3 clearing breaths, then we'll offer space for reflections and maybe even space to process. So maybe if you need to write something down, that's cool too. But 3 clearing breaths, in through the nose, hold it, exhale out the mouth, in through the nose, hold, exhale out the mouth. Deep inhale through the nose, hold it. And on the exhale, let everything go. Critique, anger, whatever. One more for good measure. Why the hell not? Inhale through the nose, deepest inhale of the day. Exhale out the mouth. Let it all go. Release hands. For those who have your eyes closed, rub hands together. Place those hands on the eyes. Bring a little heat to the eyes. Open the eyes and the hands. Lower the hands down. Welcome back.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
So good.
Oh, so good. So good. Oh man, you know, for me, what I got really present to was like a heaviness that I'd never let myself feel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like real heavy, and it didn't feel like a dark heavy. It just felt like, oh, it's just like, yeah, right. It's just like I don't know. I don't really know what it's like, but also like holding the two, like inspiration and anger and frustration in the same space. Like for me, it's like, oh, like it speaks to the bigness of who we can be, because we often think that it's just either or.
Yeah.
Right? I can either be inspired or I can be angry and frustrated. You don't have space, I don't have time for both. Right?
You do.
But you do. You really do. And just having that and like being in that space is holding in that space is incredible. So thank you for that. I'm checking over here on Facebook. For those of you, if anybody has anything you want to share, type it in. If you have any questions, type it in. People are just like, thank you, love, holding inspiration and frustration together. Yes. So grateful. Leslie says, for Reggie to give us the gift of himself and nurture us, extending us compassion on a day that is so heavy for him personally is such a gift. Thank you, Reggie. I want to change the world to keep you safe. Since I can't since I can't hover around you like a mama bear.
Thank
Oh,
you.
so sweet. You are so sweet. Oh, I'm so grateful to be in this community with so many beautiful people. We are only virtual, and being virtual, we are in energy together.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Right.
Because that's what the pandemic reminded me of, that is that, like, I mean, and you know this, Asia, most my teaching practice, it will be shifting to some extent, but it's mostly been through this dot right here. And like what I've noticed is that like the connection we all crave is here.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And there's no like bounds to that, right? Like
Yeah.
there's no
Right.
limitation. There's nothing that here can't penetrate. There's no distance that here cannot cross.
Yes. Absolutely. Right. I mean, I love hugs. Hugs are cool, but you know what's even cooler? Like a heartfelt connection across the globe simultaneously.
Yes. Yes. Oh
That's
my
dope.
God.
Yeah.
So dope. And we talk about this in our Exponential Human Project, and our 5-day challenge of how like really what we're all wanting is love from here. And what we spend all our time and energy doing that ends up being, and what causes the exhaustion, is the dealing with and the recreation and building of the walls that we put in front of this.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are we really afraid of?
Right.
Like, what are we trying to protect? Like, if we can hold frustration and inspiration in the same space, then there is nothing that we can't handle.
Right. Right. And that was the deeper thing. I mean, that's why I offered it, is because like the work that y'all do is very important, but people tend to view it as binary. Right. Like, and you need to hold space for both. Like you need to hold space for anger, because people be tripping, right? Like sometimes you need to like set somebody straight with love and grace, right? I mean, I tell people all the time, I was like, these prayer beads, don't get it twisted. They can be a weapon. Like keep playing. I have chosen peace,
Yeah.
right? I've chosen active peace, right? I was like, I can also choose an ass whooping and curse you out. You know what I mean? But like, there's a checklist. Like cursing out used to be number 1. It's now like number 7. Right? There's like deep breath, meditation, prayer, but cursing out still on the list. I just got other tools in the quiver, right? But to your point, and this is what I'm hopeful that everyone sees and hears and intuits, is that like holding space, and you mentioned heaviness. Now that you have experienced that, you know whether or not you want to keep it, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if it was unknown to you before, there's no agency in that situation. But now that it is known to you, you can infuse that heaviness with a little bit of joy, or like once something comes into your awareness and it becomes known, it becomes actionable. If it's unknown, then you can't do nothing with it, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Patty has a question. She says, what change from COVID will you leave, and what change will you keep personally and in your work?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah. COVID made me a teacher. I was not teaching, real talk. Like I looked around, whether it be yoga or the meditation space, ain't no brown anything. Definitely ain't no black dudes like teaching asana or meditation or both, right? So, and this is the thing, and thank you, Patty, for the question, because you're forcing me to be vulnerable. So break down some walls real quick. I learned that when Brother Floyd was murdered, I was just like, yo, why am I so quiet? Like, it's time to speak. Like, and so I haven't shut up since, right? So like, right. So the coronavirus, COVID not only made me a teacher, but I went from like passive teacher to branded practice. Like I taught IATSE on Saturday. Like I co-taught with Sharon Salzberg a month and a half ago, leading Buddhist teacher. Like all this wild stuff happened because of the coronavirus. And as such, remember I told you in my remarks earlier, my now former colleagues, the week that George Floyd was killed, never asked me how I was doing. Like I woke up, I was like, why am I kicking it with you? So I quit. Right. So I left the activist space. Like I'm still an organizer, just not a political strategist right now. And I went from activist first, teacher second to teacher activist. And never thought any of it was going to happen. Like seriously, I had one singing bowl last year. Now I got like.
I see you back there. I'm like,
Right. This
vibration happening. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Transcendence. Yeah.
Oh man.
But thanks for the question. That was a beautiful question.
Someone else says, my workmates have no idea. Have no idea how much they owe Reggie for breathe in resilience, breathe out creativity.
It's a superpower.
Oh my goodness. This is so great. Everybody's just like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And seriously, Reggie, like, thank you. See, you all, Reggie came to us and was like, let me contribute to you. And we were talking earlier today, and he's like, I want to give you a break. And those words have not like had so much impact on me than they have right in this moment, given everything that is going on in the world today. We're also in the middle of a renovation. We're also moving this week, and all this that's going on. So this came at such the right time.
I took you up on it. I was laying on the floor. I was like, okay.
Are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. Yes, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
man,
have a lot.
Such a gift.
We have a lot going on.
Such a gift. And yeah. And always, oh gosh, I always just love having you in this space. I love having you as just here and creating the space. And so thank you for being here.
I'd love to just hear from everyone if we have just a second. Like, what is your takeaway tonight from this?
Yeah, for sure.
Experience? Just what did you get out of this? It's just how awesome. What a gift to be in just a space of such a powerful experience. So what are your takeaways? Just, whatever they are, type them in.
Yeah.
Shiraz shares, I feel light, calm, connected, and grateful. None of us would be here if not for George Floyd, straight up. In Judaism, there's a standard blessing for the deceased. May George's memory be for a blessing always. Just lost it. Sometimes I think words are just that, words. I don't feel that way about this one. George Floyd's memory truly is a blessing, and I'm happy to have kept him, what he went through on me on the daily for a year. Though technically last year on this day, we didn't know the reckoning was coming. I'm ready for it. In part, thanks to Reggie, Asia, Molly, and the rest of y'all. So, this says, sitting with my frustration and just being. My 6-year-old did the closing breaths with me. She loved it. So did I. Community is everything. I am grounded and grateful. Tears of frustration and relief at the same time. Curiosity, not criticism. Yeah, that's so good. Feelings are information. Yeah. Yeah, what? Yeah. It's always a little...
I love y'all and being in this space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What it is really just mind-blowing to think about a year ago today. And just what has been created in this space, in this opening. It really is, yeah. Asher says, y'all, Reggie is amazing with kids. He does yoga with littles and it's life-giving. I bet it really is. Chanel says, I'm feeling connected to everyone.
Yeah.
Powerful to hear bits of your journey, Reggie. Thank you. I feel so much more centered, connected, and humbled. Thank you, Reggie, Asia, and Molly. I've never spent the time to see where I feel inspiration. Thank you for giving that gift to us. Amy Jo says, yes, I'm going to say mourners Kaddish. I think it's pronounced Kaddish. The Jewish prayer, I think, is what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Wolfie says that we all belong here. Glenda says, grateful for this love beyond space and time. It really is. I mean, we've just had the most incredible people, and you're one of them, obviously, Reggie, come into our life this year. This experience, just starting this little Facebook group while Asia's cooking dinner. What are you doing? Oh, nothing.
Just changing the world real quick. What else?
It's just so I could gather up the white people who wanted to be a part of it. I just didn't know there were going to be 43,000 people. It was going to be more than white people. So yeah, it's really been a gift, out of a lot of heartache and a lot of sadness and a lot of a year. It's been a tremendous gift. I remember the first time we talked to you, Asia's like, wait till you talk to him. Like, this guy is a unicorn. I was like, I like unicorns. Yeah, just so awesome. And I'm excited. Someone had asked you how your practice is going to change, and people have been asking us, like, what are you guys going to do now that you can get together in person? I'm like, we're going to have a party. Like, make no mistake. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
one less racist in your life is not one less racist in Asia's life. Yeah.
So I just want to honor y'all again real quick, right? Because this is my love offering to you and your community, because you're doing the work this is the work that matters more to me than the political work that I just left. And here's why: because you're meeting people where they are and offering them tools and techniques to change their like policy. If someone is fucked up, like, policy is going to be fucked up, right? However, if someone transforms, if someone offers like love and compassion, and that becomes like the way that they engage with the world, then policy and all these other outcomes are changed that way. So the work that you're doing, in my opinion, is far more effective than like a lot of the activist stuff that I did. And granted, I did the activist stuff because we had a clear and present danger, right? But now that clear and present danger has somewhat subsided, this is the work that I'm about, because like the comments that I've received, y'all know me, I'll probably be on the Facebook thing tonight, like just going through and responding to folks, is that if you've never held space for your inspiration, then how can you know when you have it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If you never hold space for inspiration, how can you know that you're inspired? Conversely, if you never hold space for frustration, how do you know when it is gone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And when you hold space for both, as Asia, she picked up on my pedagogy real quick. I was just like, if you hold space for both at the same time, that's who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are both and.
Yeah.
And some might say that's exponentialist behavior. Some might, I don't know. But like,
I'll ask around.
No.
I'll
yeah. Would y'all say that? I don't know, right?
Yeah. We have to be able to be with whatever it is, wherever it is. And yeah, it's happening.
It really is. Like, I feel
really
like in this
happening.
moment right now, like, and what people are sharing in this space, right, is really, it's really what we're going for, like extended and expanded out, like imagine living your whole life like this, right? Like in this, I don't even know how to describe it, but like in this,
yummy.
Yeah, right. It is. It's yummy. Like it's closeness. It's like heart opening. It's connected. It's just, it's like a knowingness of one another that is, not that we don't. I feel like a lot, like the walls went down.
Right. Absolutely. And what we have done tonight is like till the fertile soil of the compassionate heart. Right? Which is the thing that yields transformation.
Yeah.
Right? Like the work that you all do and are doing is compassionate.
Yeah.
What I just did was throw a compassion love bomb into your whole situation, though. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, I see what you're doing. Let me throw some fertilizer on this, right?
Yeah.
Right. And in conclusion, because y'all know I don't like to be talking on forever, but like, I want to go back to the comment that was offered earlier, that the reason that I offered this, one, is that like he hurt people, healed people, heal people.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
oh,
So from the healing that I've experienced over the past year, it is incumbent upon not only just me as a teacher, but just my practices is to share that. Right. So I, as Black man a year ago, was broken. In the 365 days, I've not only been rebuilt, but like refortified, and like the yoga world don't know what it's like, what's coming. You know what I mean? They really don't. And that's cool because we about ready to flip it upside down like Jesus did with the tables in the temple. You know what I'm saying? So like, but what we're doing is like opening the space for healing writ large. It started with me. I was just like, okay, I'm kind of pissed and angry right now. Do I want to stay in this space? No, I want to be more loving. I want to be more compassionate. I want to be, and I did it day by day by day. Now I'm just like, can I help you with that?
So good.
And so on this day, when other people would be like, look, everyone's going to watch the news and watch some tearjerker stuff. I mean, that's just how it goes. Can you also hold space for your healing and transformation while you're watching tearjerker stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I offered it.
It's so good. We knew you'd have the most perfect. It's like we're so stupidly busy right now, and now it's somehow been a year, and we were just like, how are we even gonna like gather ourselves and actually be in this space? And you did it yet again. So yeah.
healed people. That hit
Yeah.
me. Whew.
Yeah. Yeah. Hang with Reggie. I don't know.
What happened?
Says, I feel like I've waited my whole life for this conversation. So good.
Well, that means it's on time.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So good.
Well, everybody,
Oh, my
Reggie,
goodness.
thank you so much. Please,
Thank
everybody, check
you.
out Active Peace Yoga. You can sign up for his classes, make a contribution.
ActivePeaceYoga.com,
.com,
right?
yeah.
I'm gonna put it back in
Yeah.
the, yeah.
I think Asher's got it. And
Of course.
yeah,
That's my team.
this is great, and we just so appreciate you, and we appreciate all of you for
Yeah.
showing up, because it's not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I appreciate y'all. All of you are doing good work, and Asia and Molly, hope that you appreciate my love offering to you for all that you've given to so many people.
I cannot even
Thank you.
tell
Thank you
how
for like reminding us to receive.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
really.
It's been a
Absolutely, my honor.
busy time.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
Have
so
a good night.
much.
Love and grace.
Care.
Ashe.
Bye-bye.